Hare Krishna. Vibhavari Shesha Aloka Pravesha Nidrachari Utho Jiva Vibhavari Shesha Aloka Pravesha Nidrachari Utho Jiva Bolo Hari Hari Mukunda Murari Rama Krishna Hayagriva Bolo Hari Hari Mukunda Murari Rama Krishna Hayagriva Narsimha Vamana Shri Madhusudana Brajendra Nandana Shama Narsimha Vamana Shri Madhusudana Brajendra Nandana Shama Putana Ghatana Kaitabha Shatana Jaya Dasharathi Rama Yashoda Dulala Govinda Gopala Vrindavana Purandara Yashoda Dulala Govinda Gopala Vrindavana Purandara Gopi Priya Jana Radhika Ramana Bhuvana Sundara Bara Gopi Priya Jana Radhika Ramana Bhuvana Sundara Bara Ravana Tankara Makhana Taskara Gopi Jana Vastrahari Brajera Rakhala Gopa Vrindapala Chittahari Bamshidhari Brajera Rakhala Gopa Vrindapala Chittahari Bamshidhari Yogindra Bandana Shri Nandanandana Braja Jana Bhayahari Yogindra Bandana Shri Nandanandana Braja Jana Bhayahari Navina Nirada Rupa Manohara Mohana Bamshi Bihari Yashoda Nandana Kamsani Sudana Nikunjara Savilasi Yashoda Nandana Kamsani Sudana Nikunjara Savilasi Kadamba Kanana Rasa Parayana Vrinda Vipina Nivasi Ananda Vardhana Premaniketana Phula Sharajo Jakama Chandra Chakora. Rama Sudharasa Gavo Krishna Jasha Rakho Vachana Mana Mora. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare set up for Srimad Bhagavatam class with His Grace Shubha Vilas Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. So, we would like to welcome His Grace Shubha Vilas Prabhu to ISV. Prabhuji, as we all know, is a well-known renowned speaker, especially on his series of Ramayana. And today, and he's also doing his classes on applications of applied Bhagavatam. So today's class would be based on applied Bhagavatam. And in the end, basically, he has his own group where he shares the notes and does online classes also on applied Bhagavatam series. So you can always join that. But we would like to welcome Prabhuji to ISV and with loud Haribol. Haribol! Haribol! Haribol!
Hare Krishna. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shabda Sadi Gaurav. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Amyena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutaha Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakamitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Shute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Devacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Would like to welcome all of you to today's Bhagavatam class. So today we are going to be discussing some very interesting thoughts from the Bhagavatam. I call this as applied Bhagavatam because I feel strongly that every single verse and every single concept that is there in the Bhagavatam, in all our scriptures for that matter, are very applicable, very practically applicable, and it can be lived based on. So what I'm going to be doing today is I'm going to be sharing with you all some thoughts and some concepts that you can contemplate on and you can derive inspiration from. And these are things that will help you go a little deeper in your own spiritual life and in your own understanding of spirituality. So as we study the scriptures and as we try to understand the scriptures, we acquire a lot of knowledge. The sun, Surya, is compared to knowledge. And knowledge is of two types. There is sadhana gyan and then there is siddha gyan. Sadhana gyan is knowledge that comes from a lot of tapasya, a lot of austerities, a lot of effort. From your side, you're putting in a lot of effort. And siddha gyan is that knowledge that comes, it's self-manifested, it's by grace, etc. And of course, siddha means those who are perfected beings already. So those who are already perfect, the knowledge that they have is known as siddha gyan. So sadhana is like the sun. And the sun has some advantages and some disadvantages. Just like the sun during the summer season is not exactly a sun that is welcome, isn't it? But the sun during the winter season is a welcome sun. So, sun can help you dispel darkness. But sometimes when there is very intense sunshine and clouds come in front of the sun, what happens? Even though there is sun, it's not visible. It's not exactly, light. So similarly, knowledge that comes from sadhana is like the sun. You seem to be having a lot of knowledge, but when you need it the most, suddenly it disappears. Have you all experienced it in your lives? You hear a lot of Bhagavatam classes. You read a lot of books. But the day you need it the most, that day all the knowledge is gone. It doesn't. Where are those verses? Where are those analogies? Where are those examples? It's like the cloud that has come suddenly in front of you and you can't remember anything, isn't it? So that is the first problem with the sun. The problem with the sun is that once in a while clouds come and cover the sun. And then of course you need some wind to blow it away and then you can see, So sometimes when you go through these dark phases in your own lives, you take shelter of someone and then they tell you something, then suddenly you start remembering, oh yes, Krishna spoke that in the Gita, The second problem with the sun is that the sun is constantly changing. Morning sun, afternoon sun, night sun, evening sun, they're all different suns, right? In terms of temperature, in terms of how it functions, isn't it? So, similarly, for a sadhaka, the knowledge quotient increases and decreases. Sometimes we have a lot of knowledge, sometimes we have no knowledge. Sometimes we have medium level of knowledge, right? So, like typically, early morning time when we are practicing our spiritual life, when we're chanting japa and all, suddenly we seem to be very knowledgeable people. And as the day progresses, we become less knowledgeable. And by night, we are like practically least knowledgeable, So that is the second problem with the sun. It's changing, basically, intensity. The third problem with the sun is that, along with light, it also gives heat. So when knowledge is without pride, it is light. But when knowledge is with pride, along with light, there is heat. There are some devotees who sit on the Vyasasana and start speaking. You feel more heat than light. I don't know if you have experienced it. So knowledge seems to be coming out, but it is so intense that you actually feel they're burning. They're like literally, firing you left, right, center, and at the end of the lecture you feel you're a demon only. I am not a devotee at all. So when knowledge is filled with pride, people experience not warmth, but they experience heat. Ideally, knowledge should make you feel hopeful. Knowledge should make you feel inspired. Knowledge should make you feel very, very uplifted. But sometimes that knowledge, when it is filled with abhiman, with pride, that same knowledge feels very intense. They feel, I can't handle this. This is too much. At the end of the lecture, you feel that I am no one. I am not a devotee at all. So if that is what knowledge is leading us to, then that heat you can't take. The next time that same Prabhuji gives lecture, you will think twice. Should I go? Should I not go? I can't handle this heat, isn't it? So sometimes, when the sun, California sun, I think is a little heavy, right? Intense compared to other places in US. So when the sun is at the highest, do you feel inspired? Nobody wants to stay in the sun that is too hot, isn't it? They look for, a shadier place. So similarly, in our lives, we have to really understand that the Bhagavatam is an abode of knowledge. All our scriptures are abodes of knowledge. And when we get access to these scriptures, when we hear lectures, when we read books, we get access to this knowledge. But let us remember that this knowledge is light, but it also has to lead to warmth. Therefore, Kartik sun people love. In Kartik time, it's very cold, especially in India. You see the temperatures start increasing. And during the cold season, when sun comes out, it feels so nice. It feels like welcome, isn't it? So that the sun that leads to warmth is a welcome sun. And people love it. And people actually bless it. But the sun that comes and gives heat when it's already hot and increases heat, people curse that sun. They don't love it, isn't it? So we have to remember when we acquire knowledge from our scriptures and we are sharing that knowledge should not make us proud. That knowledge should keep us grounded. That knowledge should keep us humble. And that's the kind of knowledge that is inspirational. That's the kind of knowledge that the world needs today. The world doesn't need knowledge that makes a person feel low, makes a person feel sad, makes a person feel despondent. The world needs knowledge that makes people feel inspired, makes people feel uplifted, makes people feel hopeful, basically. When Lord Ram met Bharat, he made a statement, and a very interesting statement. The statement is almost like a test. He tells Bharat that there is no one more saintly and talented as you. And he asks him, am I right? Now, if God asks you such a question, it's a very interesting question, isn't it? So now, Bharat is thinking, how can I say you're wrong? Bharat is saying, can you ever say, God, you're wrong? Yeah. Obviously, you can't tell God that you're wrong, isn't it? So then Ram asks Bharat, why do you say that you are the greatest sinner? Because Bharat actually felt responsible for all the mess that happened in Ayodhya due to his mother, So he felt that all the pain that the people of Ayodhya are going through for Ram being exiled to the forest for 14 years, he felt I am responsible for it. If I didn't exist, Kaikeyi would not have done like this. So he felt responsible for all the mistakes, and for all the pain that people are going through, and therefore he considered himself to be a sinner. And then Ram says like this. So Bharat, he thinks a little bit, and he reconciles the two. And he says, what you're saying is right. What is Ram saying? Ram is saying that there is no one more saintly and talented as you. So Bharat is saying, what you're saying is right, but what I am saying is not wrong. So then Bharat gives a very beautiful analogy. And this is an analogy that every devotee must remember. And it's an analogy that is actually a very life-transforming way to think for a sadhaka, for a devotee. Bharat says, a piece of iron is iron, isn't it? But when that piece of iron comes in contact with parasmani is a very special type of jewel. Anything parasmani touches becomes gold. So Bharat is saying, if you take that piece of iron close to parasmani, the moment the iron touches the parasmani, iron becomes gold. But whose ability is it? Is it the iron's ability or is it the parasmani's ability? Obviously it is the parasmani's ability, isn't it? So Bharat says, I am like that piece of iron and you're like that parasmani. Whoever gets in touch with you becomes gold. You touched Ahalya, she was stoned and she became she became conscious. So he says that anyone who comes in contact with you immediately becomes like gold. So it is not my quality. It's not that I am great. I am great because I came in touch with you. And then Bharat, he returned back to his kingdom. And all the citizens of Ayodhya started asking Bharat, why do you do so much austerities? He was doing really intense austerities for the 14 years that Ram was in the forest. What kind of austerities? He didn't sleep on the ground. He was sleeping 12 feet below the ground. Because he was thinking Ram is sleeping on the ground. I can't sleep on the same level as Ram. So he dug a hole 12 feet below and he slept. And he was thinking Ram is eating roots and fruits. I cannot eat Rajbhog. I cannot eat opulent food. So he was eating barley soaked in cow urine for 14 years. The two without salt. Once a day. Imagine. Ram, he did not wear opulent clothes, kingly clothes and ornaments. Bharat gave it up also. He was wearing tree bark and deer skin, just like Ram. Ram did not, he matted his hair. So even Bharat matted his hair. So the people of Ayodhya were thinking that, why are you doing such level of austerities? You already have pleased Ram. So why do you need to do more austerities? And Bharat gives a fantastic answer. He says, I was iron. I was a piece of iron. I came in touch with Ram and I became gold. But I have to keep checking whether I'm still gold or not on a daily basis. There is always a possibility that that piece of gold can become iron again. All of us in our lives, we got in touch with Srila Prabhupada and his teachings. And potentially we are all pieces of iron, we have become gold. But every single day, we have to start doing a regular audit, check on ourselves. Whether am I still gold or I'm going back to being iron. And that's something that every single devotee has to do. And for the devotee, for everyone to be able to do this, how do you become gold from iron? The way to become gold from iron is through the years. When we hear the holy names, when we hear Krishna Katha, the more we hear, the more our heart remains that of gold. And slowly, when we stop hearing, that heart which is of gold starts turning back into iron. So many times when we feel that I have a lot of knowledge, now I don't have to hear more and read more, then remember the reverse process has started. Slowly, over a period of time, your heart will again turn back into iron. And that's why the hearing process has to go on. No matter how senior you are, no matter how many years you've been practicing spiritual life, no matter how much you have read and are knowledgeable, that hearing, as long as the hearing process goes on, till that point in time, our heart remains that of gold. The moment our hearing process goes down, again, the illusion comes up again and we become proud. In our scriptures, we have many people who are connected with years. In fact, their name only is connected with years. I'll tell you all three people whose names are connected with years. One is Karna from the Mahabharata. Then there is Kumbhakarna from the Ramayana. And then there is another personality known as Ghantakarna from the Sthala Purana of Badrinath. I'm going to tell you these three stories. And these three stories actually illustrate the importance of hearing and the problem with the lack of hearing. So there is this, I'll start with Ghantakarna's story. There was this person called Ghantakarna who lived in the Himalayas. And this person, he was a demon, but he was a great worshipper of Lord Shiva. And Ghantakarna, he somehow, he did not want to hear any other name other than Shiva's name. And whenever, so what he did was, he had a very unique way of not hearing any other name. He hung two big bells around his neck, on his neck, huge bells. And from that he got the name Ghantakarna. Ghanta means bell, And he had bell that hung around his ears, so his name was Ghantakarna. So whenever anyone would chant the name of Narayan, he would shake his head. And the bell would ring, and he would not hear. So anywhere there was Harinam going on, he would keep shaking his head, And he did not want to hear the holy names of the Lord at all. But he was a great devotee of Lord Shiva. One day, he went to Lord Shiva and he performed austerities to please Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva appeared in front of him. And Lord Shiva asked him, what do you want? This man said, please grant me liberation. And Lord Shiva said, see, I cannot grant you liberation. The person who can grant you liberation is Lord Narayan. Go to him. And this person was thinking, how can I go to him? All my life I shook my head and I didn't hear his name at all. How can I go to him? Will he even accept me? Lord Shiva said, don't worry. Lord Narayan is very kind. He is very merciful. Just go to him and take shelter of him. He will surely give you shelter. And this man, he really took shelter of Lord Narayan. And finally, Lord Narayan appeared in front of him and he asked him, what do you want? He said, he explained his whole story. He told his story. And he said, I'm so sorry that all my life I shook my head and did not want to hear your names. But I really want liberation. So Lord Narayan was so pleased with his story. He laughed so much. And he said, because you have entertained me, I'm going to give you a very special post. He said, in a Badrinath temple, I don't know if any of you have gone to Badrinath. In Badrinath temple, inside the temple of Badrinath, on the right side of the altar is this deity of Ghantakarna. And Lord Badrinarayan, he told him, because you have pleased me, forever you will be here guarding my place. And Ghantakarna became like a immortal deity in the temple of the Lord, basically. From where? From beginning to not wanting to hear the holy names, to becoming such a great devotee of the Lord and blessed by the Lord, to have his eternal association. The second story is the story of Karna. So here is a man who was very knowledgeable, who was very intelligent, very skilled, very talented. But his problem was he did not have the right attitude. In spite of being given advice, he did not want to take the advice. So Karna had good ears, he had a good brain, but somehow he did not take advice very seriously. So when you have good ears, it is important that you hear the message properly and you absorb the message and live by the message. Both Arjun and Krishna were given Gita. Arjun and Karna were given Gita by Krishna. Before the Mahabharata, Krishna spoke to Karna. And he spoke so much philosophy to him. He spoke to him about dharma. But somehow it did not register only in Karna's mind. And therefore, people who are very highly talented, they tend to not hear well. I don't know if you have ever come across such people, They know a lot. Extremely skilled, extremely talented people. But they just don't listen only to anybody. They just don't listen to others. In fact, there are people whom you tell 2-3 times same thing, still they don't listen. Because Karna, or the process of hearing, it takes time. It takes a lot of time to get used to this idea of hearing. That's why when you come to Bhagavatam classes, if you see, Shravanam is equal. Everybody hears. But Mananam is not equal. Not everybody thinks and contemplates on what they have heard. Therefore, not everybody gets the same advantage of hearing Bhagavatam. Technically, if everyone hears the same class, they should get the same benefit, right? But after the class, you ask 10 people, they will say 10 different things what they have heard, what they understood. Because hearing is same, but after hearing, the process of contemplation is different. And the Bhagavatam is, you get the maximum benefit of Bhagavatam, but along with hearing, there is contemplation also. It's called contemplative hearing. That's when the Bhagavatam really becomes useful, it really becomes a part of your life, it really becomes powerful in your own journeys. The third person in the scriptures is Kumbhakarna. The word Kumbha means pot and Karna means ears. So Kumbhakarna means somebody whose ears were like a pot. Huge ears he had. Imagine, If somebody has such huge ears, how much he can hear? Ideally, we have such tiny ears, but we still can hear quite a lot. But if somebody has really large ears, they should ideally be able to hear quite a lot, isn't it? But Kumbhakarna's ears were all filled with garbage. People who are very proud, they love their ears. You know why? Because through their ears, they can hear their own glories. They can hear their own praise. They can hear their own greatness. So Kumbhakarna, he loved to hear a lot about himself. And that's why Kumbhakarna's size in the Ramayana is huge. Why his size is so huge? His huge size represents his pride. Technically, there might be somebody who is 5 foot tall or short, whatever. But his ego might be like Kumbhakarna only. Huge, isn't it? So this Kumbhakarna is not just physical size. It's talking about the size of your ahankar. Short people may have big egos. And big people may have small egos, isn't it? So Kumbhakarna is not just about a physical dimension. It's about it's a spiritual dimension also of looking at it. Therefore, in the Ramayana when Sugriv was kidnapped, so basically there was a point in time when Kumbhakarna attacked Sugriv. And Sugriv fainted. And Kumbhakarna put Sugriv on his shoulders and took him inside Lanka. Now imagine, Sugriv is the king of the Vanar Sena. And Kumbhakarna just flips him on his back, and he's taking him inside, kidnapping the king. So the entire Vanara army, they were totally bewildered because the king is gone. And Kumbhakarna was entering the city, and everybody was praising Kumbhakarna like anything. And as I said, Kumbhakarna he loves to hear his own praise. He was rejoicing. People were showering flowers on him. They were throwing scented water on him. He was like enjoying the praise. Just like when someone praises you, you don't want them to stop, isn't it? Please speak a little more, little more of my glories, we just love praise so much, we don't want them to stop speaking. So Kumbhakarna was so intoxicated in hearing his own praise that he forgot to focus on Sugriv, who was on his shoulders. And a little water fell on Sugriv's face, and he woke up. And he woke up and he saw the whole situation, and he immediately attacked Kumbhakarna. He realized, if I don't escape now, I'll be dead. He jumped on the ears of Kumbhakarna and bit off the ears. And jumped on the nose of Kumbhakarna and bit off his nose. Now you might be thinking, what's wrong with people in the Ramayana? They're cutting off the ears like anything, Ram also cut off Shurpanaka's ears, through Lakshman. And here Surya is cutting off Kumbhakarna's ears. See, everything in the scriptures is very symbolic. So if we don't get the symbolic understanding of it, we kind of miss the point. So why did Sugriv cut off the ears of Kumbhakarna? He bit off the ears of Kumbhakarna because he understood the only way to damage a proud person is to bite off his ears. Attack at the place which is his greatest weakness. The greatest weakness of a proud person is ears. He bit off the ears only. Kumbhakarna's identity, his name is Kumbhakarna. One ear is gone. So practically, his identity itself got shaken up by Sugriv biting it off. Kumbhakarna became so angry, so upset. He started running and attacking the whole Vanar Sena. And as Kumbhakarna came to attack the Vanar Sena, all the Vanaras, they went and hid behind Lord Ram. And they kept Lord Ram in the front. When pride comes to attack you, you don't think you can go and deal with him yourself. You can deal with all other anarthas yourself. You can deal with lust, you can deal with anger, you can deal with greed, all of it yourself. But to deal with pride, you keep God in the front. Pride is the one thing that you can't deal with yourself. Because, I don't know if you have read, Srila Prabhupada once wrote, pride is a last snare of Maya. When you start practicing spiritual life, you can give up all the lower ones easily. Lust, anger, greed, envy, all that you can give up. And suddenly you get stuck at pride. You think, I am so great, I've given up all of this. Therefore, it is called the last snare of Maya. That means, pride makes you actually feel so great that you have given up everything else. You manage to control everything else. So you control everything else and then you get stuck there, basically. So when pride is attacking you, don't think you can deal with it yourself. That's where you have to put yourself at the back and keep Ram in the front. Keep God in the front. Because that is one thing that we can't deal with ourselves. And Lord Ram did something very interesting to deal with Kumbhakarna. So he first cuts off the hands of Kumbhakarna and still he attacks. And then he cuts off the legs of Kumbhakarna. Still he is rolling and trying to kill everybody. And then finally, so from Kumbhakarna's mouth constantly abuses and all kinds of words are coming out. Ram then, he does something amazing. He hurls hundreds of arrows and fills up the mouth of Kumbhakarna. You know why Ram does that? Very interesting. When someone is very proud, they love to hear their own glories. They love it when people speak about their greatness. But if nobody is speaking about their greatness, they themselves start speaking. What is social media? Social media is simply people nobody speaks about, they speak about themselves. That's what it is, essentially. So a proud person, when he stops hearing his greatness, he starts speaking his own greatness. So Ram filled his mouth with arrows. Arey Baba, at least at the time of death, you don't speak about yourself. Isn't it? So the way to deal with pride is two things. One is, try to stop hankering for hearing about your own glories, your own greatness. And try to stop hankering to speak about your own greatness. The ears and the mouth are exclusively meant for hearing and chanting the holy names of the Lord and chanting and hearing the holy katha of the Lord. So when that is not happening, then the heart gets filled with pride. The heart gets filled with these anarthas that make us think that we are great. Knowledge is not ours. Knowledge is God's. But when we acquire that knowledge, we think that I am great. Isn't it? So, one of the names of the Lord, he is known as Putatma. The word Putatma means the one who purifies the heart of all the misgivings, all the anarthas. So there is so much of dirt within our hearts. And, there are these cleaning agents, right, that you get. Like, for example, you get Surf Excel, you get these soaps and detergents, and you get these all products that are meant to cleanse your body. But what is it that is used to cleanse our heart? I'm sure all of you all have eaten halwa, right? When you eat halwa or anything that is Indian sweets made up of ghee, and it's filled with sugar and ghee, very slippery, right? When you eat it, your hands get greasy, isn't it? After that, you have to wash your hands with soap because that grease just doesn't get out, isn't it? You put that halwa in your mouth. Have you ever put soap in your tongue to clean your tongue? Anybody has ever used soap after eating halwa? Greasiness doesn't stick to our tongue, isn't it? Why? Because the tongue is a very special organ. It is created in such a way that no matter how sticky substances go inside it, nothing sticks to it. That is the way the tongue has been created by God. Similarly, the Lord is called Putatma. Means, no matter how dirty we are and how much dirt we put inside our hearts and our bodies, the Lord who is within our heart, He never gets contaminated. He never gets dirty. In fact, He is the one who is inside us, trying to purify us, trying to cleanse our hearts. So as we progress in our spiritual journeys, life becomes more subtler and subtler and subtler. Initially, in the beginning stages of our spiritual life, it's very gross practice of spirituality. But as we grow in our spiritual journeys, the practice of spirituality has become subtler and subtler. Like for example, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there's this amazing story of Prithu Maharaj, who is performing this Ashwamedha Yajna. And he is performing 100 Ashwamedha Yajnas repeated one after another. And Prithu reaches the point of 99 Yajnas successfully performed. And he's about to do his 100th Yajna. At that time, Indra becomes very insecure. And he really becomes very, very petrified, thinking that Prithu is doing the 100th Ashwamedha Yajna so that he can take over my position of Indra. See, the nature of positions and power is that it always keeps you insecure. Because there's always going to be somebody better than you. There's always going to be somebody more qualified than you. Security cannot be in position, power, wealth, and all of these external things. Because all of these things change constantly. Today somebody is a president, tomorrow somebody else is going to be the president. These power and positions, they are very, very volatile in nature. They are not permanent things. Like when an earthquake comes or a tornado comes, what will you hold on to? Will you hold on to your Apple Watch? Is that going to help you? You will fly along with it, isn't it? Are you going to hold on to your Tesla cars? Even that will fly along with you, isn't it? What will you hold on to when there's a tornado or a hurricane? You will have to hold on to something that is really grounded intensely, isn't it? It might be a pole. There's no value to that pole otherwise. But because it helps you stick to something that is ground, earth is not going to go anywhere. Earth is powerful, isn't it? So if you hold on to something that is strongly connected to the earth, there's a good chance you will not get blown off. But if you hold on to anything else that is valuable, but it is not connected strongly to earth, you're going to get blown off. So in our spiritual journeys also, we have to start learning to get connected. Hold on to something that is unchangeable. Hold on to something that is not going to change with time. If you want to hold on to anything else that is changeable, you are in trouble. You hold on to your beauty, wait, sometime it's going to change. You are in big trouble. You hold on to your wealth, anytime stock market can crash, your wealth is gone. You hold on to anything else in this world which is changeable, you are going to be in big trouble. As you go deeper in your spiritual journeys, you have to start holding on to unchangeable aspects of life. So in the beginning of our journeys, we are all holding on to changeable things in life. As we go through our education system, as we go through our schools and colleges, and as we get into our jobs, we are inspired to hold on to things that are changeable. But when we come to the path of spirituality, we are inspired to hold on to things that are unchangeable. And what is that one thing that is unchangeable? It's your relationship with Krishna. It's your relationship with God. So here, Indra is holding on to a position. And he becomes so insecure that, Prithu Maharaj is doing 100 Ashwamedha Yajnas. He comes and steals the horse. Prithu Maharaj is the Brahmanas ask Prithu, get the horse for sacrifice. And Prithu goes and sees horse is missing. And then he finds out, using all his spies and all, Indra has taken the horse. He goes and fights with Indra and gets back the horse. Indra comes and again steals the horse, second time. Again Prithu goes and fights and gets back the horse. Again Indra steals the horse a third time. Prithu is getting really irritated. What kind of immature behavior is this? The king of the heavens behaving so immaturely? Don't be surprised by immature behavior of very senior people in this world. Don't be surprised by immature behavior of people who seem to be in power and positions. Power and position does not give you maturity. Wealth does not give you maturity. Just knowledge does not give you maturity. Realization gives you maturity. And realization comes only when you actually realize your relationship with Krishna. So Indra was acting really immature. The funny thing about anger and the funny thing about all these qualities is that when you exhibit it, you're very serious about it. But for everybody else, it is just a funny, humorous comedy. So whenever you have been angry in your life, look at other people's faces. They'll all be laughing. Because for them, it is just a joke, basically. So Indra was very serious about this 100 Ashwamedh Yagyas. But it was really funny, somebody at that level behaving so insecure. Prithu, he didn't know what to do. He didn't know how to deal with this. Finally, Lord Brahma appeared in front of Prithu. And Lord Brahma told Prithu, forget it. Just give up this desire to do the 100th Yagya, because Indra is immature and is attached to his position. He is becoming insecure of your desire to do the 100th Yagya. I know that you do not want to do it for Indratva, for the position of Indra, but you want to do it for the welfare of society and to please the Lord. Be rest assured that the Lord is pleased. Just stop the 100th one. Prithu did not do the 100th Yagya. He stopped at 99. This 99 number is a very strange number, isn't it? As you come closer to 100, your desperation becomes more. Somehow I want to hit century. Prithu stopped at 99 because he thought a little bit, why am I doing this? He realized, I'm doing this to please the Supreme Lord. But if the Lord is going to be displeased with me by doing the 100th one, I don't want to do the 100th one. Look at it from our own points of view, of our own spiritual practices. There are some things that we are really attached to, isn't it? And we really want to do it that way only. But we don't think what is pleasing the Lord. Prithu was so amazing as a person. He did not do the 100th one. And Indra thought, I won. And Prithu lost. Indra won from the world's point of view. But from the Lord's point of view, Prithu won. Isn't it? So sometimes by losing, you actually win. And sometimes by winning, you actually lose. So the ego has to be really dealt with a lot of realization. So Srimad Bhagavatam inspires us to contemplate on why we're doing what we're doing. Kartik month, people do a lot of austerities. But they unfortunately forget why they're doing the austerities. And it becomes everything about austerity itself. And we forget why we're doing it. Anything that you do in your spiritual journey, it has to be focused on why we're doing it rather than how we're doing it or what we're doing. The more you focus on the what and how, the more you're stuck in the externals of the doing. And the more you focus on the why you're doing it, the more you focus on the purpose why you're doing it. And the purpose is the most important aspect of spiritual life. If you forget the purpose, you actually lose connection with spirituality. Isn't it? So many times people practice Krishna consciousness at such a superficial level. Externally, everything they're doing. They seem to be chanting 16 rounds, seem to be following principles, seem to be doing a lot of austerities, seem to be doing a lot of donations, doing a lot of charity. But somewhere they lose connection with why they're doing it. And the moment you lose connection with why you're doing it, the behavior, it becomes very external and superficial. And that's when these anarthas come in. That's when pride comes in. That's when all of these superficial things come into play. Indra forgot the why. Why is he Indra? He is not Indra because that position is powerful. He is Indra because he has the capacity to do some service. And therefore he has given that position. Prithu, he focused on the why. Why am I doing this yagya? If he had forgotten the why, he would have made sure he did the 100th one. If he simply forgot the why, he would have 100% focused on the 100th yagya. Because that's a matter of pride. But simply because he focused on the why, he just dropped it. Giving up anything that you're attached with is easy when you focus on the why you're doing it. If you're attached to something, it's very easy to let go. The moment you focus on why you're doing it. We attach to so many things in our personal lives. Simply when we focus on the why. Like Srila Prabhupada, there's this very famous story of Shyam Sundar Prabhu, who was carving the deity of Jagannath, the first wooden deities of Jagannath. Shyam Sundar Prabhu was a carpenter. He was carving the deities of Jagannath, just new in the movement. And Prabhupada just engaged him to carve, using his carpentry skills. He's carving the deity of Jagannath, and in one hand he was smoking a cigarette. And then he kept the cigarette on top of the head of Jagannath. Prabhupada came and saw. Imagine doing that. Prabhupada simply asked him one question. He said, why do you allow one piece of paper to come between you and Krishna? That's all, Prabhupada said. And he went away. And Shyam Sundar Prabhu, for the first time in his life, he started thinking that the cigarette is coming between him and Krishna. He didn't connect only till that point in time. So the moment Prabhupada gave him that why question, that day he gave up smoking for the rest of his life. So spirituality helps you go deeper to the deepest questions of why you're doing it. And you know what? The why questions are the most difficult questions to answer. And we don't want to get there. We don't want to answer those why questions because they're difficult questions, they're tough questions, they're deep questions. I find in the Krishna conscious movement, devotees doing so many things. And I simply ask them, why are you doing it? They don't have an answer. Most of them just don't have an answer. They're doing it, somebody tells me to do it. Yes, it's good if somebody tells you to do it, but you should also understand why you're doing it. Because when you are empowered with the why, and you have clarity on the why, you will really be able to focus and do well. Prithu Maharaj, by not doing the 100th yajna, he entered into the pages of Bhagavatam. If he had done the 100th yajna, he would not have been in the Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is filled with devotees who are losers. You studied Bhagavatam? Every single story is of a devotee who has lost something. Gajendra was a loser. Prahlad Maharaj was a loser. Dhruva was a loser. Ajamil was a loser. Every single story of the Bhagavatam, Vasudev was a loser. Every single story of the Bhagavatam you take, they are all people who are losers. But in losing something, they gained something really big. They gained something really deep. They gained something that really is powerful. So if you're losing something in your life, don't worry. You have a good chance of entering the pages of Bhagavatam. Provided you know how to behave when you're losing. The problem with most of us is that we behave very badly when we're losing. And therefore we don't get to enter into the pages of Bhagavatam. And the reason we behave badly when we're losing is because we don't have the realization that Krishna is in control. We don't have a relationship with Krishna that gives us that confidence. And that is why we need to develop our connection with the Srimad Bhagavatam. We need to develop our relationship with the Bhagavatam. And we need to apply the teachings of the Bhagavatam in our lives. There was somebody who asked a very beautiful question to Kabir Das. Kabir Das is a great poet. And he was asked, what if God is there in everybody's heart? God is there in your heart, my heart, everybody's heart. He was asked, what is the difference between a saint and a non-saint? Somebody who is a saint and somebody who is not a saint. Somebody who is a devotee and somebody who is not a devotee. So he said that God is there in the heart of everyone. But in whose heart God is active, that person is a sant. That person is a saint. And in whose heart God is inactive, that person is not a saint. It's a very interesting way of looking at it, right? We all have Paramatma in our hearts. But in some people's heart, the Paramatma is dormant. It is in sleeping stage. He is in Mahavishnu in a form, gone to sleep. And in some people's heart, the Paramatma is very, very active. Very intensely active. So what is our situation? Is the Paramatma active in our heart? Or is the Paramatma passive in our hearts? Not in everybody's heart the Paramatma is active. During the Daksha Yajna in Srimad Bhagavatam, there's this episode where Daksha Prajapati, he organizes a yajna where people from all over the universe are present, including Brahma and Shiva and so many of these great personalities. So when Daksha entered into the arena of the Daksha Yajna, everyone stood up out of respect. Because Daksha was a very powerful person. He's a very prominent personality. He's a head of the progenitors. Everyone stood up except two people. Brahma did not stand up. He didn't stand up because Brahma is the father of Daksha. It's okay. The father doesn't stand when the son comes, right? So Daksha didn't have any problem with Brahma not standing up. The second person who did not stand was Lord Shiva. And Daksha had a lot of problem with Shiva not standing up because Shiva was his son-in-law. Even if you are Lord Shiva, as a son-in-law, you don't get that much respect. That's the reality of life, basically. You just taken for granted, basically. So here, the Acharyas explain why Shiva did not stand up. And it's a very deep reason. So Lord Shiva, he stands up respectfully towards anybody when he sees in their heart the Paramatma is active. So wherever he sees Paramatma being active, Lord Shiva stands up in respect. But when he saw like Daksha, there was no Paramatma activity only in his heart. And therefore Shiva didn't stand up. How do you create a situation where we activate the Paramatma in our hearts? So now there are two types of relationships in this world. There is a vertical relationship and there is a horizontal relationship. Vertical relationship is your relationship with Krishna. It's vertical, right? And horizontal relationship is your relationship with devotees of Krishna. We have to cultivate relationship with both, vertical and horizontal. Most of us, we love to cultivate the vertical relationship with Krishna. That makes sense. But we get scared to cultivate horizontal relationship with devotees. And we think that, what is the need for doing this? What is the need for developing deep relationship with equals, with devotees? Actually, it's not disconnected. Your relationship with Krishna directly depends on your relationship with devotees. If you notice in the Srimad Bhagavatam, wherever and whenever Krishna meets the devotees, like say for example, when Krishna was with his friends in Vrindavan and he was performing all his beautiful pastimes, there was something amazing happening. I'll tell you one very sweet pastime of Krishna with his friends. So when Krishna goes from his house to the forest, so in his house, his mother, Yashoda, dresses him up in a gorgeous way. She dresses him as a prince, practically, because he is a prince, right? So she dresses him up with jewelry, with beautiful clothes and turbans and really opulent dresses. But when Krishna goes with his friends to herd the cows, as soon as they reach the forest, and Mother Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, all of them return back. When Krishna goes ahead with his friends, the first thing he does is removes all those jewelry and throws it down. And there's a second dressing that happens in the forest. And this time the friends of Krishna dress him up. And they dress him up with forest flowers and, like that. Completely organic dressing, Completely natural things used. And now, when Krishna is dressed up as a king of the forest, he goes and does beautiful pastimes with his friends. One day, Krishna, all the friends of Krishna, they drew a huge box on the ground, like on the floor of Vrindavan, on the sand. They drew like a big box, and they told Krishna, "Krishna, this is the stage. Now you come and perform." And Krishna jumped on the stage, and all his friends sat around him, to watch the performance of Krishna. And Sri Krishna began to dance and play his flute. And when Krishna was dancing and playing his flute, he began to do tap dancing. Or on his toes he was dancing. And so beautifully he was dancing. Balramji jumped in. And Krishna was dancing on his foot. Balramji started dancing on his hands, upside down. And Balramji was dancing all around Krishna. And seeing Krishna and Balaram dance so beautifully, perform so beautifully, the boys became so happy that they started hugging each other. The explanation that the Acharyas give is that when you are enjoying your spiritual journey, when you are connecting with Krishna, you start loving the companions who are on the journey. You start loving the people who are on the journey with you. How boring it is to be on a journey alone, isn't it? How boring it is to go on a holiday alone, It's not exactly exciting and entertaining, isn't it? But when you have good company, it's wonderful. So spirituality is like a journey in which all of us are going. But at least with few devotees, you should have at least 2 or 3 relationships within Krishna consciousness where you can have deep, meaningful, soul-searching conversations. When I'm talking about deep, meaningful conversations, doesn't mean you talk about politics, doesn't mean you talk about what is happening in the automobile industry. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about actually having deep, meaningful conversations that help you grow spiritually. At least you should have 2 or 3 such relationships in your life. And those relationships, which are horizontal, will help you deepen your connection with the vertical relationship with Krishna. And that way, you will actually develop your relationship with the Paramatma. And that's the way to activate the Paramatma. And when you have the Paramatma which is active, that is when you are a devotee. Otherwise, many of us are devotees, but the Paramatma is not exactly active, isn't it? Because we have not developed a relationship with the Paramatma. As the number of years pass in the process of Krishna consciousness, you have to ask yourself, is my relationship with Krishna growing? Is my relationship with the devotees growing? It's not the number of people I know. It's not that my contact list is becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. That's not the point. The point is how many people are there in that contact list. It might be a huge contact list, but how many people are there in this contact list who can stand by you during your thick and thin, whom you can go to during the most difficult times of your life and get the relevant and the right advice that will help you deal with that in such a way that you will enter the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. You will always find people around you who are giving you advice, but those advices don't necessarily make you qualified to enter the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. Those take you away from Bhagavatam. But we need to have at least one person in our life, if possible 2 or 3, who can really give us deep advices that can help us solidify our shelter of Krishna and connection with Krishna. And the fact is that that one person who really does not give up on us, and no matter what, makes sure that our connection with God is always on, is our spiritual master, is the Guru. The role of the Guru is to ensure that no matter what, we don't give up on our path of Krishna consciousness and we don't give up our connection and shelter of Krishna. I'm going to tell you a very interesting story that is in the Upanishads. And this story is a very inspiring story, and it also is a story of great hope for all of us. So this story comes in the Vishnu Purana also. So in this story, there was a guru whose name was Ribu, and he had a disciple whose name was Nidaga. So Nidaga studied with Ribu for a long period of time. And after a long period of time, Nidaga went to his guru, Ribu, and told him that I've studied enough. Now I would like to move out into this world and live based on whatever I've learned in the Gurukul. So the guru, he told Nidaga, he asked Nidaga, are you sure you've learned everything nicely? And you will not forget everything I taught you? Nidaga said, yes, I've learned everything nicely. Ribu said, please never forget all the teachings that we have learned here. He said, fine. And while going, Ribu again reminded Nidaga of the most important learning of understanding that we are not this physical body, we are Atma, spirit soul. And the spirit soul needs to develop its connection with Paramatma. He reminded him of that and he sent him. He said, please go and practice life based on these teachings. Nidaga went, started living a regular life, and 1,000 years passed. In the meanwhile, Nidaga got married, he had children, started living a regular life. 1,000 years later, this guru, Ribu, he wanted to go and test his disciple, whether his disciple actually following whatever he has taught him. So he went to the house of Nidaga. 1,000 years later, obviously, Nidaga didn't recognize his guru. So he saw one sage who has come, he invited him home, and he said, will you eat something? And Ribu said, I'm very hungry, please feed me. So Nidaga, he wanted to arrange food for this hungry beggar sannyasi who has come. Ribu said, but I want to eat something specific. So Nidaga said, please tell me what you want to eat. And Ribu gave a big list of all the most tastiest of tasty items. Really opulent items. And Nidaga was surprised. Who comes to your house and gives you like a big list like that, And Nidaga was shocked. But he said, anyway, this person has come to guest to my house, I should make. So he told his wife and they cooked a very elaborate meal. And they fed this Ribu. And this Ribu ate like crazy. He finished everything that was cooked. Nothing left for these two people. They were shocked. He ate so much, They thought maybe he's hungry and not eaten for days together. And after he finished and all, he washed his hands and he was sitting there. And Nidaga went to him and asked him, how was the food? How was the meal, So Ribu said, which meal? Nidaga said, just now you ate such a big meal. I was asking about that. He said, who ate? Nidaga said, you ate so much. I fed you so much. And I fed you so many items. He started telling the names of items and all. He said, which item? Who ate? Who fed? This person lost it. And he started shouting at him, after eating so much, you don't even remember what you have eaten. And then Ribu, he understood that my disciple has forgotten the whole teachings. And he told him, I didn't eat, my body ate. The Atma has no hunger. The Atma has no thirst. And then he sat down and explained to him the whole philosophy of Atma and the body in detail. And then Nidaga realized, oh my God, this is my guru who has come here to remind me, what I have forgotten. And he thanked him and he greeted him and he, worshipped him and all that. And then the guru went away. 1,000 years later, he came back again. And this time, this Nidaga was standing in a procession, and the king was passing by with his entourage. And the king was sitting on a huge elephant, dressed in opulent clothes and all that. Thousands of citizens were standing on both the sides, watching the king in awe and reverence. And Nidaga was standing in that group. And suddenly, Ribu, he comes and stands next to Nidaga. And he asks him, what is happening here? So Nidaga says, the king is traveling in his entourage and all of us are watching him. This Ribu asks him, who is the king? And he says, the king is sitting on top of the elephant in opulent clothes. He is the king. And all the people that are standing over here are all citizens. This Ribu is asking him, which king, which citizens? Nidaga said, can't you see with your own eyes that elephant, such a big elephant is over there, On top of the elephant, the one fellow who is sitting, he is a king, And all these people are standing below, with dressed like paupers, they are all citizens, And Ribu is asking, I can't see any king, I can't see any citizen. This fellow lost it. He sat on top of the shoulders of his guru and he said, like this, you are standing below, I am sitting on top, I am the king and you are the elephant. And then this Ribu realized this person has forgotten again. And then he sat and taught him whole knowledge. The king and the elephant and all these people, they are just bodies. The Atma is inside them. And then he gave full explanation of Atma and the body. And suddenly, Nidaga realized that he has completely forgotten his knowledge and his guru has come to remind him again. This story is a very important story that the Vishnu Purana is trying to teach us. And the reason that the Vishnu Purana is teaching us through this story is to teach us the fact that education is eternal. It's not something that is completed at some point. The way our formal education system works, at some point, 10th grade, you pass out. In spiritual life, there is nothing like passing out. It's an eternal education. And your relationship with the teacher is not that at some point your relationship with the teacher ends. I have learned enough. I don't need the teacher anymore. No, it's an eternal relationship. Forever you are serving with your teacher. Forever you're going to learn from your teacher. And that is the kind of teacher we have to choose. That is the kind of teacher that we have to aspire to learn from. And that is the kind of relationship that we have to cultivate with our teacher. When we have the confidence that my teacher will never give up on me. No matter what. No matter in what situation of life I'm in. No matter which planet I'm in. My teacher will never give up on me. And that understanding, when you have that faith that my teacher will never give up on me, that's the faith that will really give us hope in cultivating this relationship with our gurus, with our teachers, with our devotees. One time, there is a very powerful story which I will probably end with. In this story, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur had a disciple. So this disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was a very wonderful devotee. But at some point, he deviated from the path of spirituality. And, he completely lost track. And he started practicing all, sinful things. And eventually, at a later point in his life, he died. When he died, they took his body for cremation. And they were about to burn his body in the funeral fire. Suddenly he sat up. Imagine, dead body sitting up, People were shocked. They were totally bewildered. I mean, they thought ghost has come. They didn't know what to do, Everybody started running away here and there. This fellow, he got up and he shared his realization what happened in the transit period after he died. Amazing story. This fellow said, after I died, I was taken to hell. And in hell, I was shown all the most ghastly things that are going to happen with me in hell. And at that time, I was standing in line to meet Chitragupta. And as I was standing in line, we were asked, is there any good thing that you've done in your life? And this man, somehow at that point, at that moment, he remembered that the only good thing I can remember I have done in my life is I became the disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. The moment he said this, Chitragupta took him to Yamaraj. And Yamaraj closed his eyes. And the moment Yamaraj closed his eyes, standing in front of him was Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And Yamaraj told Bhaktisiddhanta, your disciple has come here. What to do with him? And Bhaktisiddhanta chastised his disciple in front of Yamaraj. And he told Yamaraj, give him another chance. And then Bhaktisiddhanta said to him, we are letting you go this time. Make sure you take advantage of the rest of your life. And then this fellow woke up in the funeral pyre. And he spent the rest of his life intensely chanting all day long. And at the end of his life, he perfected his life. Now, I told you all a story from Vishnu Puran, and I told you all a story from Bhaktisiddhanta's life. And both these stories are, teaching us the same fact, that the devotees don't give up on you. No matter what situation of life you're in, no matter what position of life you're in. And therefore, it is imperative that we cultivate our relationship with the devotees, with our spiritual master, and with the Supreme Lord. Both the horizontal relationships and the vertical relationships, so that we can grow in our spiritual journeys. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Before we take on some questions, I would like to share a couple of things with all of you. One is that just a couple of months back, 2 or 3 months back, I've embarked on a journey where I'm trying to teach the entire Srimad Bhagavatam in a manner that is applicable. So I call it as applied Bhagavatam, where I am teaching the entire Bhagavatam sequentially from 1st canto to 12th canto. It will go on for 2 or 3 years. But I'm teaching it in a way that every single part of the Bhagavatam, you can actually apply the teachings in your personal lives. So this is not a technical rendition of Bhagavatam, this is more like a practical application-based understanding of Srimad Bhagavatam. So for those of you who are really wanting to learn Bhagavatam, understand Bhagavatam, apply Bhagavatam in your lives, in a short span of 2 or 3 years, we'll cover the full Bhagavatam basically. I completed the first canto of Bhagavatam in about 11 sessions. So these sessions are curated in such a way that the essence of the Bhagavatam will be there, teachings of chapter wise, but at the same time, there will be elaborate notes provided, where you can actually, I'm creating notes which are like mind maps, by which you can get the entire chapter essence of it in one quick glance, basically. And these notes are going to be shared. So here is a QR code for those who are interested in joining these applied Bhagavatam classes. It's a Telegram group in which you can be a part of, and you just connect to this QR code and join the Telegram group, and there you will get links for all these classes that happen. So every Thursday in India time, I'm doing these classes, and you're most free to come. These classes are completely free, and the recordings of these classes will also be available. So anytime you would like to go through these recordings and you want to hear them again, you'll be. And in the Telegram group, the notes will also be posted. So every week's notes will be posted, and when you join the group, you will actually get the notes of all the classes that have happened so far also. So all the the first canto full is already pinned in the Telegram group. You can get access to that, and even the recordings of all of that will be available. And the second thing I would like to talk to you all about is my books. I have written so far close to about 60 books, some of which we have brought here, and some of them are available here. We have a small stall here. I'll talk to you all, just introduce you all about few of these books that are important. So this is my latest book. This is called the Nam Ramayana. By far, this is one of my favorite books now. And this book has 108 meditations on Lord Ram. So the way this book is written, the entire Ramayana is in one book, technically. But along with the storyline of the Ramayana, what is interesting about this book is that it helps you meditate on the qualities of Lord Ram and the mood of Lord Ram. That's how this whole book is. There are 108 names of Ram, and each name has a story connected to it. Each name has a quality connected to it, and each name has a meditation connected to it. So technically every day you can read one meditation, it's about 1 or 2 pages long, and you can meditate on one story of Lord Ram as well as one quality of Lord Ram. That's how this whole book is. Nam Ramayana is written by a great Acharya named Lakshmanacharya, a Shiva Vaishnava Acharya. And by reciting the Nam Ramayana, you are technically reciting the whole Ramayana. You get the same benefit as reciting the whole Ramayana. So many devotees, especially in South India, they recite Nam Ramayana on a daily basis. So this is a wonderful book to have. This is a book called Mystical Tales for a Magical Life. This has 11 unheard stories from our scriptures. This is my answer to Harry Potter. For any of you all who are intrigued by Harry Potter stories, this is the answer to it. In fact, this has crazy stories. I call them crazy stories because each story is just sheer madness. You will not be able to believe only what is happening, But these stories teach us some wonderful lessons. I can bet you would have not even read one of these stories in your life. This is a book on Lord Shiva. For those who are, worshippers and also who love Lord Shiva, and they don't understand how and why he's called Vaishnavana Meta Shambho. This is a great book that can teach you so many stories on Lord Shiva's life. And of course, I have this very famous series called Ramayana, the Game of Life, that many devotees have been reading. And so this series is the entire Ramayana in 6 volumes, basically. And this has lessons that you can learn from through the whole story of Ramayana. Practically every book has about 200 to 300 lessons that you can learn from and apply from the stories of Ramayana. This is a very interesting book. It's called 100 Vedic Women. So for all those people who say that Vedic scriptures are all about men, this book will prove them wrong. I specifically wrote this book to tell the world that the Vedic scriptures have powerful women who have so much to offer and so much to teach the world. Unfortunately, nobody has done too much research on it. So this book probably is one of the first books in that direction. It will give you an introduction to 100 really powerful women. And then there is a series of books for kids. I'll just show you all 2 of them. This is the illustrated Panchatantra, the entire Panchatantra in illustrated form, really beautiful illustrations. And this one is the illustrated Mahabharata for children. I mean, I'm saying children, it's obviously for adults also. The whole Mahabharata in really beautiful pictures. So these are some of the books that are there. You can have a look at the books, and anybody would like to have them, you're most welcome. I'll be happy to sign them for you. Anybody has any quick questions or comments before we end now? Yes. Yes, bro.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam Prabhuji. Thank you so much Prabhu for visiting Bay Area ISV and giving a wonderful class. You touched base on many important aspects of hearing and giving 3 examples of the Karna and Ghanta Karna and one more personality. Prabhuji, you made one statement about, if you could elaborate on, you said as you progress on the spiritual path, the path gets more subtler and subtler. So could you give any example or illustrate that point, Prabhu? Thank you.
Okay. Gross, I'll give you one example. One of the things that we follow in our spiritual journey is that we do not eat non-vegetarian food. So we avoid meat eating, etc., right? That's easy. And that's something that people can give up very quickly. And it's something that is easy to follow. But why do you not eat meat? The reason is because it goes against the principle of compassion. Right? The interesting thing is, on the dining table, we are very compassionate. Food that we eat is non-vegetarian, is vegetarian food, and it's offered food and all that. But are we compassionate to the people whom we are sitting with? Many times, we are very violent to other people in our family, among devotees. So we are very compassionate in our eating habits, but we are very violent in our speaking habits, in our dealings, basically. So when we say that I'm not eating meat, On a gross level, yes, you're not eating meat. But on a subtle level, you're not following the principle. If you are going to be violent, if you're going to be harsh, if you're going to be, very violent in our communication, in the way we deal with the devotees. So that's why I said the gross part is easy, the subtle part is difficult. The subtle part will probably take a lifetime, to achieve.
Thank you, Prabhuji. And also wanted to just thank that, Prabhu, thank you for writing these books. I've been just reading the third part of that 6-volume series of Ramayana for my daughters. It's been amazing journey reading these books. Thank you. Haribol.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yes.
Hare Krishna. Thanks for the wonderful class, Prabhu. And you have given some talks on sadhana, and you have given you have illustrated with being a son. There are 3 stages where sometimes a person will be very happy and they'll not do anything. And you have given what to do to overcome that, it's because of the pride and all the 3 steps to come out of that pride. And there is a next step where there will be a small cloud, and those will do more sadhana than a normal happy person. So I think they are already doing all the things they should do. Doing more sadhana to get out of the cloud and then bring the sun again. And then there is a 3rd stage where a person is in very dark phases where they can't do anything. So what's your applied Bhagavatam stuff for this stage?
Those who are in very dark situations and they are not able to do themselves, ask some devotee to pray for you. So when you are yourself in big trouble, you need help. Sugriva was in great trouble at some point, isn't it? And interestingly, Sugriva is Surya Putra. He is son of Surya. He was in big trouble. So as I said, sometimes the sun gets covered by clouds, right? It's too dark then. That time you need wind to come and blow. So he took shelter of Hanumanji, who is Pavan Putra, to blow the clouds off. And Hanuman connected him to Ram. So in our lives, we will all come across dark phases where our own strength fails, our own abilities fail, our own powers don't help us. That's the time we need help. Take shelter of someone who can help you deal with that darkness, who can act like Hanumanji, blowing the clouds away so that the sun becomes clearer. Okay?
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you. Yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you for the wonderful class. So you talked about Prithu Maharaj, and we see that even though Prithu Maharaj was such a great devotee of the Lord, at one point he also becomes agitated because of Indra. He was troubled by Indra definitely, but then at one point he just wanted to, kill Indra at one point of time. So I wanted to ask that, in the heat of the thing sometimes what happens is that, you become so much carried over, and then, there are mistakes which happen. So what's the remedy actually we can do in those cases when these happen?
See, association of devotees is like a net. If you've seen circuses, they have these trapeze that perform, right? They're hanging on these bars. They jump from one bar to another. Then they hang on another bar, Do you know where their confidence comes from? The confidence comes because there's a net below. I can jump. If I fall, then at least, the net is there to protect me. So, in our lives, the association of devotees is like that net, safety net. We can go and take any risks that we want with the thought that there's a net below to protect us. So, in all our lives, we will make mistakes, we will get agitated, we will get, really angry, we will get upset, we will get disturbed. by behavior of other people, and by the situation around us, basically. So when that happens, and we have the safety net, somebody will come and tell you, Baba, what you're doing is wrong. Like in Prithu's case, Brahma appeared, and he told him, stop this, why you're doing this. And we should know that these devotees that come up to us and tell us and give us guidance, they are themselves sent by the Supreme Lord. The problem is that when we don't take their advice seriously, that's when the problem is. Because they are observing your situation and giving you an advice based on their experience and based on the Paramatma's guidance, basically. But unfortunately, our own false ego is so strong many times that we don't want to take that guidance. We're not prepared to take that guidance, basically. So the devotees will give guidance and they'll walk away. Because they don't want to, barge in, basically, too much. So, in such situations of our life, first is we ourselves take shelter of devotees. That's the easier part. Because when you go and ask for advice, then it's easier for them to give advice also. But sometimes, out of compassion, a devotee might see your situation and themselves give advice even when you don't ask. Then you should know for sure the Paramatma is speaking through them, basically. So that's why the safety net of devotees is important. That's why the community is important. The community is not just a place where we come and have prasad together. Community is a place where we feel that protection, where we feel that safety net below us. And then we can take risks in our lives. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I think we have to go to the next part of the program, so let us stop here. But probably Prabhuji will be available for some more times. If you want to talk personally, you can always have more questions. Just to add, Prabhuji also has a mentorship program for youth as well as adults to help you with your professional and material and spiritual life. So if you want to know more about that, he can also give you details on that one. But once again, we are very, very thankful to His Grace Shubha Vilas Prabhu. He just landed from India yesterday. He's also a little bit running sick, but he took his time here to give his association, and hope we can get inspired from his teachings of Ramayana, Mahabharata and Bhagavatam. So again, let's chant one more time Hari Bol loudly to welcome him and thank him. Hari Bol! His books are available outside. The whole series is book table is set up. So if you want to browse through the books, you are free to welcome, and it will be available tomorrow also. And he's here for the next couple of days for more programs. So please contact the volunteers and they will let you know the details. Thank you very much. And we'll go to the next part of the program, which is the youth seminar. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Shubha Vilas Prabhu. It's been a nectarian Bhagavatam class on a very auspicious Gopashtami with special darshan and special insights that we get from your fantastic books. For certain, I think many, many children of this congregation are a fan of your books. They have most of your books. Thank you so much for coming and giving us your realizations. I'd like to invite you if you'd like to sit for one of our youth presentations and bless them. So now we'll go on to our morning Kaishura presentation. Today's presentation is going to be by Aditi. She's the daughter of Dhira Prashant Prabhu and Sirisha Mataji and cousin of Geetavali. So I've had Aditi in our Kaishura class for some time now, and it's been a joy. Her realizations are very, very practical, and look forward to hearing from her for this morning's presentation, which is actually from the Dhruva book by Gaurang Darshan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, everyone. My name is Aditi, and today I'll be presenting on 3 golden pieces of advice from a glorious mother. Okay, before we start, this is Dhruva's lineage. It begins with Brahma, his great-grandfather, and goes on to Swayambhuva Manu, and he has 2 sons, Uttanapada and Priyavrata. Uttanapada has 2 wives, Sunati and Suruchi, and Sunati has Dhruva and Suruchi has Uttama. Okay, backstory. Seven-year-old Dhruva wanted to sit on his father's lap. Surachi, Dhruva's stepmother, was very dear and kind of a favorite to King Uttanapada. His stepmother scolds him and says he cannot sit on his lap because he's not born in her womb. And Dhruva is really hurt by Surachi's harsh words. And Sunati, his mother, gives him 3 pieces of advice on how to react to the situation. So the first piece of golden advice is, please don't wish ill fortune for others. She explains that forgiveness, the importance of rising above others' actions, is really important because if you fuel these negative feelings, it's an endless cycle of revenge. She also explains maintaining a pure heart. When you respond with harm after being hurt, it can disturb your own heart and intentions, and maintaining purity is more valuable than seeking revenge. So this is the second piece of golden advice. Please understand that anyone who inflicts pain upon others suffers oneself from that pain. She explains karma because when you cause harm to others, it brings back suffering to yourself through your conscience and in real life. Also, she explains empathy and understanding to see beyond immediate actions and that troubled people hurt others and they will face consequences. Third piece of golden advice. Fulfill your desire, worship Lord Vishnu, because the Lord is affectionate and kind to his devotees. The emphasis on divine blessings. True fulfillment and blessings come from the Supreme rather than material desires. And when you channel the pain into devotion, it's a way of finding Lord Krishna. Okay. Third piece of golden advice continued. So this verse is from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, 8th chapter, and this is the 22nd verse. Tam eva vacharya brita vatsalam mumukshibir mrigo vigyapadabjapaditim ananya bhave nija dharma bhavite manasi avantarya bhajavana purusham. Suniti advises Dhruva to seek refuge in the Supreme Personality of Godhead because he's kind with all his devotees. And when you're focused on Krishna, your heart will be pure and you'll find true peace and satisfaction. She explains Britya Vatsalam, the Lord's affection of his devotee is more than the affection of 1,000,000 mothers together. So this is what I learned from this presentation. Forgiveness over revenge, the power of harboring ill will even against those who have hurt you, understanding karma, those who cause harm to others ultimately will bring suffering upon themselves, and transforming pain into devotion, using adversity as a motivation to seek spiritual growth and fulfillment, and divine guidance. True satisfaction comes from the path of devotion and inner strength. A life of purity, faith, and unwavering devotion is more than a life of revenge. Thank you and Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Aditi. Anyone has any questions, comments, or reflections? Yes.
Hare Krishna. That was nice, but I'm curious, which of the 3 advices that you think is most important?
I think don't wish ill fortune upon others, because I feel like I'm very jealous of other people, and I feel like everyone in this material world is, and we often wish bad stuff upon others to make ourselves feel better.
Okay, and how do you stop yourself from wishing ill when you're being hurt?
Honestly, I just think of that it will come back to me at the end. It's just a cycle. So if I wish bad upon others, they're probably gonna wish bad on me, and it's just a cycle. So I keep trying. I try to remember that.
And that stops you from?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, sending out that wave. Okay, that's Newton's 3rd law. Thank you.
It's a very good presentation. I mean, we all know Dhruva's story, but looking at it from a different perspective and understanding the 2 or 3 points, especially forgiveness and over revenge, stuff like that. I mean, we have heard that, but connecting to the story is very, very wonderful. Thank you for a good presentation.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I really love the way that you presented. Your pictures are really well chosen. You had a really nice pace. And I really appreciated the motherly love that radiated from the lessons. It's really incredible that we have this knowledge broken down so clearly. And then I wanted to ask a question. In this pastime, do you, how do you, I don't know if this is beyond the scope of your presentation, but when Dhruva went into the forest, how do you think he applied these while he was meditating? How do you think it affected his sadhana?
I think he didn't do it with any desire to like sit on his father's lap. He just realized what was like truly right, and like he didn't really do it with any other desires.
I'd like to add to that. It's a very great question. Thank you so much, Kennedy. So Dhruva actually, at that age, could not understand such deep philosophy and such, high truths that his mother instructed him. So the story goes that he followed just the third advice, which was just to go worship Vishnu. And eventually, the purification happens as he just follows that particular instruction, of course, by the grace of his guru, Narad Muni, who comes to test him and then bless him with the mantra. Yeah. Yes.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. It's very nice presentation. Your pictures are very, very nice. My question to you is, if someone hurt you, what should be the next step? You forgive right away? Or like, how do you deal that process?
I would talk to them. Like, people need to know that they hurt you, right? So if you talk to them, I think I wouldn't wish bad upon them because it's obviously a misunderstanding. So.
That's a great answer. Any other questions or comments, reflections? Thank you, Aditi. That was fantastic. Really good to hear. The most important part is to hear your, heartfelt realizations. That's what we carry with us, because it brings us to how to apply Bhagavatam in our real life, in practical situations. And as we had the questions for even our previous speaker, Shubha Vilas Prabhu, that how do we apply, right? That's the crux. How do we apply scriptures in our life? So we will stop here, and thank you so much once again for all the hard work that went into this, and thank you to your family for supporting you, and of course, grateful to have you for Kaishara class, and look forward to working with you more and more. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
So we'd like to request everybody to now prepare the room for Guru Puja. Just please put your mats away and we can move the carpet, all right, so that we can do Guru Puja. Thank you.
So just to inform, so we have one program for Prabhuji at 11 o'clock, starting in Fremont at Sham Jagannath Prabhu's house. And on Monday evening, it will be at Rohini Dulal Prabhu's house in Cupertino. If you want to take more association of Shubha Vilas Prabhu, we are welcome through these programs. Thank you very much. And it's still available for some more time to talk to you.
His programs?
Huh?
His programs?
Yeah.
Monday and Tuesday?
No, today at 11 o'clock.
Here?
No, in Fremont.
Fremont.
And Monday in Cupertino.
Monday in Cupertino. Okay. And when does he go back?
It goes on Wednesday morning.
Short visit.
This one. So we will have Guru Puja. I need help in rolling up. The carpet has to roll, right? Can help in rolling the carpet. can start it. Shlokas first, right? Chadiya Vaishnava Seva Nishtara Paecha Kheba. Namasreshtam Manu Api Sachi Putram Atra Swarupam Rupam Tasyagrajam Urupurim Madurim Goshtavathim Radha Kundam Girivaramaho Radhika Madhavasham Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Gurum Tam Nathosmi. He Guru Gyanagadhina Bandhu Swananda Dhata Karunaika Sindhu Vrindavanasina Hitavatara Prasida Radha Pranaya Prachara. He Dina Bandhu Karunaika Sindhu Kuru Prasada Mai Manda Mudhe Laksha Prade Bahupapa Gade Tatapata Padme Stumatischa Krishne. Yadyapi Amara Guru Chaitanyera Dhasha Tatapi Janiye Ami Tanhara Prakasha. Guru Krishna Rupa Hana Shastre Pramane Guru Rupe Krishna Kripa Karena Bhakta Gane. Siksha Guru Ke Tajani Krishnera Swarupa Antaryami Bhakta Shrestha Yai Dhui Rupa. Naivo Payanti Apachitim Kavastavesha Brahma Yushapi Kritam Riddha Mudasparantha Yo Antarvahisthanubhritham Ashubham Vidunvan Acharya Chaitya Vapushasva Gatim Vayanakati. Without serving the representative of Krishna, nobody can approach Krishna. I bow down to the beautiful lotus feet of my spiritual master, by whose causeless mercy I obtained the supreme holy name, the divine mantra, the service of the son of Sachimata, the association of Srila Swarup Damodar Rupa Goswami and his older brother Sanatan Goswami, the supreme abode of Mathura, the blissful abode of Vrindavan, the divine Radha Kunda and Govardhan Hill, and the desire within my heart for the loving service of Sri Radhika and Madhava in Vrindavan. O spiritual master, O giver of divine wisdom, O friend of the fallen, you are the giver of your own bliss, and you are the only ocean of mercy. Although dwelling in Vrindavan, you have descended for the welfare of fallen souls like myself, and you are preaching the divine love of Radha for Krishna. Please be kind upon me. O friend of the lowly, O Gurudev, you are the only ocean of mercy. I am a dull fool and have committed hundreds of thousands of offences. I have fallen into the dense myriad of sins. Therefore grace me with your mercy so that my mind may be fixed on your lotus feet and on Sri Krishna. Although I know that my spiritual master is a servitor of Lord Chaitanya, I know him also as a plenary manifestation of the Lord. According to the deliberate opinion of all revealed scriptures, the spiritual master is not different from Krishna. Lord Krishna, in the form of spiritual master, delivers his devotees. One should know the instructing spiritual master to be the personality of Krishna. Lord Krishna manifests himself as a super soul and as the greatest devotee of the Lord. O my Lord, transcendental poets and experts in spiritual science could not fully express their indebtedness to you, even if they are endowed with the prolonged lifetime of Brahma, for you appear in two features, externally as the Acharya and internally as a super soul, to deliver the embodied living being by directing him how to come to you. The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. I bow to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. Our only wish is to have our consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is a perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens our darkened eyes and fills our hearts with transcendental knowledge. He is our Lord, birth after birth. From him ecstatic prema emanates. By him ignorance is destroyed. the Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor and the Lord and the master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma. Bandho mui savadano mate. Bandho mui savadano mate. Jahar prasade bhai e bhavatoriyo jai. Krishna prapti hoy jahan hoite. Krishna prapti hoy jahan hoite. Krishna prapti hoy jahan. Guru mukha padma vakya chitete koriyo aikya. Arona kori ho mane asa. Arona kori ho mane asa. Shri Guru Charane Rati aise uttama gati. Jai prasade pure sarva asha. Jai prasade pure sarva asa. Jai prasade pure sarva asa. Chakshudan dilo jai janme janme prabhu sai. Chakshudan dilo jai janme janme prabhu se. Divya gyan hriday prakashito. Divya gyan hriday prakashito. Prema bhakti jaha hoite avidya vinasha jate. Prema bhakti jaha hoite avidya vinasha jate. Prema bhakti jaha hoite avidya vinasha Vedegaya haracharito. Vedegaya haracharito. Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adhama Janara Bhakto. Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adhama Janara Bhakto. Lokenath Lokera Jivana. O Lokenath Lokera Jivana. Aha Prabhu Karo Daya Deha More Prabhu Jaya. Aha Prabhu Karo Daya Deha More Pado Chaya. Bejas Gusukri Bhuana. O Bejas Gusukri Bhuana. O Srila Prabhupada Patita Pavana. O Guru Deva Loilo Sarana. Jayo Prabhupada, 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 Jayo Prabhupada. Jayo Guru Deva, Jayo Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jayo Guru Deva. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Nama Om Vishnu Padhaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jayo Krishna Krishna Hare Hare దామోదరాష్టకంలో
नमामीश्वरं सच्चिदानन्दरूपं लसत्कुण्डलं गोकुले भ्रजमानम् नमामीश्वरं सच्चिदानन्दरूपं लसत्कुण्डलं गोकुले भ्राजमानम् यशोदाभ्योलुखलाघवमानम् पराभृष्टमत्यन्ततो धृतिगोप्या रुदन्तं मुहुर्नेत्रं युग्मं मृजन्तं कराम्भुजयुग्मेन सातन्तनेत्रम् मोश्वासकम्पत्रिरेखाङ्ककण्ठ स्थितग्रेव दामोदरं भक्तिबद्धम् लीलाभिरानन्दकुण्डे स्वघोषं निमज्जन्तमाख्यापयन्तम् तदीयेषु तज्ञेषु भक्तिजितत्वम् पुनः प्रेमतस्तं शतावृत्ति वन्दे वरं देवमोक्षं न मोक्षावधिं वा न चान्यं रणेऽहं वरेषादपि न चान्यं रणेऽहं इदं ते वपुर्नाथ गोपालबालम् सदा मे मनस्या विरास्तं किमन्ये इदं ते मुखाम्बोजमत्यन्ति नीलै व्रतं कुन्तले स्निग्धरक्तिश गोप्या मुहुशुम्बितं बिम्बरताधरं मे मनस्या विरासमरं लक्ष्यलाभै नमो देव दामोदरानन्द विष्णो प्रसीद प्रभो दुःख जलधिमग्नम् कृपा दृष्टि वृष्टियति दीनं बतानु ग्रहणेश मामज्ञमेध्यक्षि दृश्य दीनं बतानु ग्रहणेश मामज्ञमेध्यक्षि दृश्य कुबेरात्मज बद्धमूर्तिवयद्वम् त्वया मूर्छितौ भक्तिभाजकृतौ च तथा प्रेम भक्तिं स्वकामे प्रयच्छ नमो शीघ्रो मे श्रीदामोदरेह प्रेम भक्तिं स्वकामे प्रयच्छ नमो शीघ्रो मे नमस्ते सुधामे सुरकीर्तिधामे त्वदीयोदरायाथ विश्वसधामे नमो राधिकायै त्वदीयप्रियायै नमो अनन्तलीलाय देवाय तुभ्यम् नमो राधिकायै त्वदीयप्रियायै नमो अनन्तलीलाय देवाय तुभ्यम् नमो राधिकायै त्वदीयप्रियायै ओ राधिकायै त्वदीयप्रियायै नमो अनन्तलीलाय देवाय तुभ्यम् त्वदीयप्रियायै नमो अनन्तलीलाय देवाय तुभ्यम् नमः सच्चिदानन्दरूपं लसत्कुण्डलं गोकुले भ्राजमानम् यशोदाभियो लोकलाघवमानम् परामृष्टमत्यन्ततो धृतिगोप्या हरे कृष्णा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Namaste Narasimhaya Prahladahnadayine Hiranyakashi Purvakshaha Shilatankanakalaye Namaste Narasimhaya Prahladahnadayine Hiranyakashi Purvakshaha Ito Narsima Parato Narsima Yato Yato Yami Tato Narsima Bahe Narsima Hridaye Narsima Bahe Narasimha Madhim Sharanam Prapati Tava Kara Kamalavare Natha Adbhut Shringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanu Bhinga Kesavadita Hari Rupa Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare Jai Jagadish Hare प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय प्रहलाद महाराज जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव नित्याय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल नित्याय गौर हरि बोल गौर हरि बोल हरे कृष्ण जय महाप्रसादे गोविंदे नाम ब्राह्मणी वैष्णवे स्वल्पपुण्यावतं राजन् विश्वासो नैव जायते प्रसादे सर्वदुःखानां हानियस्योपजायते प्रसन्नचेतस सूयासु बुद्धिपर्यवतिष्ठते त्वयि उपक्ता स्वगन्धा वासुलङ्कारचर्चिता उच्छिष्ट भोजिनो दास तव मायां जयेमहि भगवत श्री महाप्रसाद की जय शॉर्ट वर्जन टुडे हरे कृष्ण